Okay, this is on video about problem solving involving the geometric sequence. So this is the problem. I'm going to show you the steps also on how to solve problems involving sequence. Okay, so this is the problem. Let me read to you the problem. Okay, a new car is priced at 2 million. Price at 2 million pesos and its value depreciates at 5% at the end of each year. So what is the price of the car after 5 years? Now in this problem, the steps or the first step to answer this problem is, of course, we need to analyze the problem. Okay, so that's how we analyze the problem. We read it carefully and we highlight the important information that we can get out from the problem. So this one that I highlighted are the important information that we need to do. So step number 2 is to know the pattern in a sequence. So we know here that we have our first term, which is the price of the car. Right. So 2 million is our first term. Let's identifying also the given. So let's write it down as our first term. This is 2 million. And our second term, how do we identify our second term? And of course, third term. So this information will be, this pattern would be enough to identify what kind of sequence problem is this. So in order to know the second term, since our first term is 2 million and the word depreciates by 5%, from the word depreciates, so meaning it lowers down, or that the 2 million lowers down by 5%. So to know how much it depreciates, so we need to get the 5% of 2 million. Okay, how to get that 5% of 2 million? So you know that 5% is equivalent to 0.05. So therefore, 2 million times is 5% or 0.05. So that would be equal to 100,000. You can use your calculator to solve this problem. So let's check. So to make it sure, so you have 2 million times 5% or 0.05. So that's 100,000. So therefore, since it depreciates by 5%, so 2 million depreciates or it lowers, it decreases by 5%, which is 100,000. So 2 million minus 100,000. All right. So 2 million minus 100,000, that would be equal to 1,900,000. It's quite big money. Okay. So 1 million or 1.9 or 1,900,000, this will be our second term. So we're going to write it in our second term. So again, the 2 million as the price of the car, the value of it depreciates by 5% at the end of each year. So on the next year, so it becomes 1,900,000. Now from 1,900,000, the next year again it depreciates by 5%. So therefore the 1,900,000 depreciates by 5%. So we need to get again the 5% of the second term, which is the 5% of 1,900,000. So we need to multiply it by 5% or by 0.05. Okay, so we can use our calculator here. So we have 1,900,000. Be careful with the zeros. Times 0.05. That would be 95,000. So what is 95,000? Again, 95,000 is the 5% of the second term. This is the 5% of 1,900,000. So the second term depreciates or decrease by 95,000. So therefore, to get the third term, let's subtract the 5% of 1.9 million pesos. So it subtracted by 95,000. Again, where is 95,000 came from? It is the 5% of 1.9 million. So 95,000. So that would be 1 point, let's do the calculation using calculator. So 1.9, be careful with the zeros, minus 95,000. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1.805 or 1,805,000. So 1 million. Okay, let's do a different color so that we will be able to identify. Now we already have the third term on our sequence. Would it be enough to identify what kind of sequence it is? So let's write this one first on the sequence or in the pattern. So it's 1,800,000. Okay, 805. Now the question is, would this would these three terms enough to identify the pattern in a sequence? Okay, can you identify what is now the pattern in this given sequence? So step 3, we have to decide what formula or concept you are going to use based on the pattern. Now look at the pattern. Okay, what is the pattern being shown in the sequence? In this sequence, could this sequence have a common difference? So how do we get the common difference? So common difference is subtracting, okay, subtracting 2 million by 1.9. So if we subtract 2 million minus 1,900,000, so that would be 100,000. So that's their difference. What about the second and the third? What's their difference? Is it the same with the first and the second term? So 1,900,000 minus 1,805,000. So 95. So therefore, common difference, they don't have common difference. Okay. So common difference can be applied, or arithmetic sequence. You can apply arithmetic sequence if the sequence has a common difference. Since this pattern has no common difference, so let's test if if meron ba silang common na ratio. So how do we get the common ratio? Let's be reminded from the previous video. So we will divide the second term with the previous term or the first term. So 1.9 divided by, so let's have it, 1.9 divided by 2 million. Okay. So this is 0.95. Okay, so, and then let's try third term divided by second term, 1.805 million divided by 1.9. So that's 0.95. So we see that there is a common ratio. So the common ratio is 0.95. So can we now conclude that this is a geometric sequence? Okay, yes, we can now conclude that this sequence is geometric. Okay, because there is a common ratio of 0.95. Because the pattern or the sequence has a common ratio of 0.95. If there is a common ratio, so therefore this problem can be solved using a geometric sequence or the concept of geometric sequence. Okay, so now we can now solve the problem. What is the price of the car after 5 years? Now we can continually solve it all throughout using the method that we have had just a while ago when we get the second and the third. But why do we really need to use the formula of geometric sequence? Now it is important that you would be able, I'm sorry for that. Now it is important that you would be able to know how to, oh, I'm sorry. It is very important that you will be able to know how to use the formula, because when it reaches, let's say for example, the problem will reach 10 years, 15 years. So of course, we're going to use formula already there. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, let's continue by solving what is the price of the car. We will solve using the concept and then we will check. So the concept of geometric sequence. So now by this term, or these terms we need to find, we can skip now the fourth term and we can go directly to the fifth term because that would be after 5 years. Okay, so this is the what's the formula for the geometric again? So your claim here would be the use of geometric sequence. Again, why geometric sequence? Because there is a common ratio. So that would be your reason. And then you have to elaborate na lang yung reason nyo. Okay, for our evidence, let's solve for the fifth term, which is the price of the car after 5 years. Okay, so let's show the solution. Okay, so the formula for the arithmetic sequence is an is equal to first term multiplied by r raised to power of n minus 1. So we know that we're looking for the fifth term here. Okay, so our first term is, of course, 2 million. So let's transfer it. I think we need to, okay, times 0.95, which is our common ratio. Okay, so hindi na kasya dito. I think we need to, okay, like, we need to move. Okay, so that's for 5 minus 1. Okay, let's compute that one. So 5 minus 1 is 4, so I already skipped na lang. So let's move. We have 0.95 raised to 4 exponents. So we have this number value and then multiplied by 2 million. I'll just go directly on the calculator and then write down the answer. Okay, so therefore, after 5 years, the price of the car is nagkabarato. Okay, so kasi nagde-depreciate siya by 5%. Is it reasonable? Yes, from 2 million, after 5 years, nagiging mura na lang siya. Kasi every year is may 5% depreciation, or sabihin natin na 5% discount or 5% na ano. So therefore, this would be your evidence. So let's paste it here. Okay, so that would be your evidence. So you can include your evidence, the pattern on how you get it, and why you use geometric sequence. So what would be your basis in using the geometric sequence? So that's just on how to show you the way. Okay. So the sequence has a common ratio of 0.95. So where do you get the 0.95? So you can show the sequence or the pattern in a given sequence. So our complete answer is after 5 years. So 1,626,012 and 50 centavos is the price of the car. Okay, so again, you can write your evidence here. I just wrote it directly na lang, so you can write the pattern in a sequence also on how you arrive with your common ratio. Okay, thank you so much for listening, and I have another second video giving another problem solving example of the problem solving of sequence. This is to determine what geometric sequence or arithmetic sequence or what mathematical concept are you going to use when encountering a sequence and pattern problem. Thank you so much for listening.